Masterbuilt Smoke Shack. My name's Billy Buick, and today we're cooking some monster ribs, aka beef short ribs, aka brisket on a stick. Now these ribs are on the bone for extra added flavour. This is going to be a fantastic cook. These guys have been brining overnight in that sweet brine that I made for the brisket burnt ends that I did a few weeks ago. If you've not seen the video that shows you how to make that sweet brine yet, I'll pop a link to that video at the end of this video so you can go and watch it. But basically it's a combination of salt, sugar, all the good stuff you'd expect in a nice dry brine. So these guys have been brining overnight in the fridge, uncovered as they should be. And so now we're just going to pop on a little bit of this fantastic cattle dust rub from the Rusty Barbecue Company. This is an award-winning rub. It's really herbal, it works fantastically with beef, and today I'm going for the kind of sweet, salty, herbal route, rather than the heat or any other route you could pursue with these ribs, because they are incredibly versatile. You could go in many directions with them, but I'm going herbal, I'm going sweet today. Thank you for that, Masterbuilt. So we're layering up the flavours now. We've got that brine on there, that's done its job, it's tenderised it, got some seasoning into it, so now we're just going to add some of this cattle dust rub to layer up those flavours. And this doesn't need a binder, in my opinion. Binders often, not always, but often can interfere with the flavour that you're trying to create. So for me, in this instance, no binder necessary. And as you'll know, if you've watched a few of our videos now, when you think you've got enough rub on, add some more, and when you think that's definitely enough, add some more, and when you think you put too much on, add a little bit more, and then that's probably enough. You really want to get these flavours in, and that means add plenty of rub. With ribs this size, you're not really going to over season, you're not really going to over rub. It's they can take it, trust me. You notice I'm even doing the bone here. Obviously we're not going to eat the bone, but there'll be nooks and crannies around that bone that need seasoning too, so just get it absolutely everywhere. Okay, and with that done, there's not really much more to chat about. These ribs are going to speak for themselves, so I'm just going to get them on the smoker. They're going on at around 250 on the Masterbuilt. We've got a mixture of lumpwood and some cherry wood in there to impart some fantastic sweet flavours. They're going to take anywhere between 6 to 8 hours. I would err on the side of 8 hours, and then they're going to need a bit of a rest, and then they're going to be good eating.
And we'll start this cook like most cooks by firing up the smoker. Just got a little bit of cherry wood in there. Gonna wait for that white smoke to clear off until we've got those nice blue plumes that we're looking for. And with the Masterbuilt set to 250, let's get these ribs on. And we've let them run for a couple of hours so they can develop that nice bark that we're looking for. And now we're going to give them their first spritz, just using a mixture of beef stock and balsamic vinegar in this case, because I didn't have any other vinegar. And balsamic, I think, is going to work really well with these beef ribs because it's really sweet and really delicious. And after this first spritz, we'll close up again, and then we're going to check every hour, give them the spritz until we hit the stall, at which case we'll pull them and get ready for the next phase. these guys now have been stuck around 165 for a good couple of hours, so we think we're in the stall. What we're going to do is we're going to pull them off. We're going to add what's left of that spritz, because that's all flavour. Along with some red wine, because red wine and beef are great friends in the culinary world. And some tallow. And some more of that delicious cattle dust rub. And then we're going to wrap them in foil, pop them back on the heat for another 2.5 hours, basically until they're probe tender, anywhere between 198 to 205 in temperature. But the key is they need to be probing like warm butter. And a pro tip here, I'm making a hole in the foil in both sides to make sure that my meter plus probe is protruding through. The reason for that is the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth signals will not be able to permeate aluminium foil, and so you'll lose contact with the app if you cover it completely. So just add a small hole into the foil covering those ribs and you'll maintain your Bluetooth or your Wi-Fi signal with your Meter Plus. Okay, so that was a rest of about 2 hours, and now we're ready for the best part. We're ready for the taste test. I mean, I can tell already, this just looks absolutely amazing. Look at that bark we've got on there. But then remember, when we were probing, it just went through like it was butter. In fact, the last probe test I did, I wasn't sure I'd actually hit the meat. It was only because the thermometer was reading 199 to 202 that I knew actually, okay, yeah, I am hitting the meat. Otherwise, it felt like there was nothing there. There was that little resistance. Just turn this around so you can see. Look at the pullback we've got on the bone there. Just beautiful. And as you can probably see as well, this bone just wants to come away. So we've let her rest for about 2 hours, and that 2 hours should be enough to let all those proteins relax, let that beef become wonderfully succulent, and also enough time for me to have a shave and a quick change as well, because the weather's really changed and I was in desperate need of a shave. So without further ado, let's get in. Let's taste this beautiful piece of meat. I've got a dull strong knife here, but this feels a bit like, I don't know, bringing a digger to fill up a plant pot. I'm not going to need anything anywhere near this sharp to cut this piece of meat. But let's take a look. I'm just going to cut right in the middle there. As I say cut, I'm just going to move my knife through. There you go. Look at that. Turn this around so you can see that as well. Look at that. Wonderful. Okay. So I'll just slice this. You look how beautiful that looks. just falling apart. That's absolutely fantastic. This piece here as well, which is, I mean, just lift this off the bone. There's no need. And then just look at that. I could squash that in my hands. How beautiful that is. Wonderfully tender. And that's from that 10 to 11 hours we left it in the smoker. And obviously it's been enhanced with that tallow that we wrapped it with. That long rest that we gave it, you can see it's just, it's almost like jelly. It's that pliable. Still enough bite there to be exactly what you want from a beef short rib. And speaking of beef short ribs, you can see it's just completely come away from the bone there. That's why people call it brisket on a stick. It's just fantastic. But enough chat, let's taste it. I'm just going to cut myself a small piece here. Cheers! What can I say? I mean, I think you know what to expect from this. It's brilliant. It's wonderfully soft, beefy, flavoursome, unctuous, rich meat. Everything I hoped that this meat would be when I first put it in, when I first started brining it actually a couple of days ago. It's got that fantastic herb rub from the Rusty Barbecue Company. I'll put a link to their website in the description because if you haven't tried their rubs yet, you really want to try them. They're fantastic. Normally with a piece of meat like this, I would just go SPG, keep it simple, let the beef speak for itself. But there's a kind of genius in the cattle dust rub from the Rusty Barbecue Company. It lets the beef speak for itself. It somehow still adds wonderful notes and nuances that just make the meat somehow even meatier. As if this meat needed to be any meatier. Absolutely brilliant. So, in terms of a flavour pairing, I thought, well, I might lean into my Britishness today and try this British smoked beef with perhaps a nice cup of tea. And then I thought, what a stupid idea. Why not find a cup of tea flavoured beer? And then I remembered that Beer 52 sent me last month this Earl Grey Pale Ale. Now, there's no particular reason beef and tea should really pair particularly well together. I mean, I don't think it will be a bad pairing, but it was just because I thought, just because I quite like the play on the Britishness, you know. But having found a beer that is Earl Grey flavoured, well, it would be remiss of me not to try it with this. So let's give it a go. Now, this is a pale ale, so obviously we're not looking for any particular pour. It's, you know, it's going to be thin, it's going to be pale, because that's what we expect from a pale ale. Looks like it's got quite a fizz. Can certainly smell, it's very hoppy, but the bergamot does seem to be there as well, as you would expect with an Earl Grey. So, cheers. Oh yeah, wow. Okay, so straight away, yes, it is hoppy, but the hops get lighter and lighter and lighter until you realise those floral hops aren't hops anymore, that's bergamot. But the journey upwards in your palate is quite unexpected. The hops just seem to be getting lighter and then dissipating, but then you're tasting bergamot. That's really clever. Really clever and definitely reminiscent of an Earl Grey tea. Should of course try some with the meat as well. Cheers. So in my opinion, the beef is a little bit strong for that pale ale. It does overpower the sort of subtle nuances of bergamot and hops, but just at the end you do get the complementary bitter notes of tea that really boost that beefy flavour. So that's a plus, that's a bonus. In my opinion, this beef would work better with something darker. However, it's certainly not unpleasant with this pale ale. As I said, you do get those tea notes, those bitter tea notes, really do work well with that umami beefiness. So, whatever you call it, beef short ribs, dino ribs, brisket on a stick, whatever name it goes by, if you are going to make this recipe, I recommend making it the way that I've done it today. It's absolutely perfect, it's absolutely delicious, and everything you could want from this cut of meat. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much for watching this cookout. I'm going to go indoors now and escape any further stormy weather. My name's Billy Buick. This is the Pitwoods Smoke Shack. Thanks again for watching. Please consider liking, subscribing, and turning on that notification bell so you always get notified when we've released a new video. And we'll see you next time.
Man, it's pitch black. Look, it's not. It's light over there. Wow, it's right over us. Oh my goodness me.